Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Q&A Sunday. I'm Rich Dallas with Berkshire Hathaway, the Dallas-Fincham team. And on today's topic, we're going to talk about real estate abbreviations and what they mean. FSBO, CD, LTV, what's that? No matter what industry you work in, people use abbreviations and the outside world has no idea what they're talking about. So today in our episode of Q&A Sunday, we're going to cover just a few of the most common real estate abbreviations that we get all the time and people look at us like, what are you talking about? So let's jump right in. First, CD. That is not talking about compact disc. We're not scratching records. We're not doing anything like that. The CD is the closing disclosure, and that is the paperwork that you're going to sign on the day that you close on your house. That has a breakdown of all the numbers that you're going to be, all the costs involved in the transaction. Another one, FSBO, better known as FSBO, which stands for sale by owner. That is a very common one. People who are selling their house by themselves, for sale by owner. Call us. Don't for sale by owner it. That's all you need to know. All right, next up, FHA. That's a type of loan. Most people probably don't even know what it stands for. It actually stands for Federal Housing Administration. A lot of people think it stands for fair housing, but it's actually Federal Housing Administration. Next up, LOI. So this is mostly common in your commercial deals. An LOI is a letter of intent. So a letter of intent is when a buyer says, this is exactly what I'm going to offer you. Please accept my deal. You negotiate, and then you go to contract. Usually when you have a commercial deal, there's a lot more attorneys involved. So that's why you have an initial offer. In some states, they do offer sheets. This would be the equivalent of an offer sheet here in Pennsylvania is an LOI to do a commercial deal. Another one, very, very common, LTV, which is loan to value. So that again is talking about your mortgage. So if you're putting 20% down, that is an LTV of 80%. So your loan to value is 80% of the actual price of the house. REO. REO is a foreclosure term, and it's very simply put, real estate owned. Real estate owned, REO. That means it's a bank-owned foreclosure property, commonly sold as is. We get a lot of those, not as many here in Pittsburgh as some other areas in the world, I'm sure. But those were really common back in the housing crash. We're not seeing a lot of that right now. MLS, that's another one that we always use, and that stands for multiple listing service. That is where all of the listings go into the system, so it branches out to all other agencies, so everybody can see it. Also, places like Zillow and Realtor.com, they pull information from the MLS, the multiple listing service, and that is how all that information gets out into the World Wide Web, which is a WWW, which is not a real estate term, but I just kind of thought that was funny. ARV is after renovation value. So we get that a lot when we're talking to investors and they want to know the value of the home once they flip it. Once they do all the work and the renovation that they're gonna do, they wanna know the ARV, which is the after renovation value. Another one that you're gonna hear a lot is a GFE, so a good faith estimate. So again, that's with a lender. The lender has to provide you at the beginning of your transaction what your fees are going to be, and they have to be within a certain percentage at the time of the closing, or you can say, whoa, hold on a second, that was not what my GFE said at the beginning of this transaction. Another one is FMA, which is fair market value. Again, that is very simply put, what is fair market value for this house or this property? Again, how about NNN? Now, you don't really hear that very often, but you'll see it a lot of times with commercial leases. NNN stands for triple net lease. And what that is, it's when the leasee, the person who is going to be the tenant, actually pays the rent, the insurance, and the maintenance on the building. A lot of times a tenant is not responsible for insurance and the maintenance, so that's why people need to know if it's a triple net lease. Another one that's very, very common is PUD. PUD stands for Planned Unit Development, and that basically just means that the house that you're looking at is in a neighborhood that has most likely a covenant of something that is in an HOA. Is very common in those. Doesn't have to have one, but it's very common. HOA, how about that? It's not even on my list. Here's my list that I'm going off of. An HOA is not on there, but that's Homeowners Association. How about that one? Got a little bonus one. All right, the last one on my list is PMI. Again, another one in the loan world. PMI stands for Private Mortgage Insurance, and that is when you are not putting more than at least 20% down. You are going to have PMI. You're going to have that's basically just an insurance that the lender can make sure that you're going to make your payments, and if you don't, they're just collecting a little bit of extra money. It's like any insurance, not necessary unless it's necessary. So those are a couple of the common real estate abbreviations, what they mean. So if you're out and about and you start hearing people throw out CD, FSBO, PUD, MLS, REO, you're now going to know what they're talking about. So I hope that was helpful. I look forward to talking to you next week for another episode of Q&A Sunday. If you have any questions that you want answered in a future episode, put them in the comments below. Call me, text me, reach out to somebody on the team. My number is 412-965-6387. Thank you and have a great day. Happy Sunday.